After my nephew emptied my $210,000 retirement account, he showed up driving a brand new Range Rover and bought a lakefront cottage 3 weeks later. He called at 2 a.m., screaming, "What have you done to me? You've destroyed everything." Chapter 1. The Missing Savings. The December rain slid down the office window like cold fingers tracing regret. I sat across from my financial advisor, staring at the screen that used to show my security, the nest egg I'd built over 42 years as a civil engineer. Balance, $0. Not reduced. Not partially withdrawn. Completely emptied. Thomas Chen, my advisor, cleared his throat. "Mr. Patterson, all 6 withdrawals were authorized using your login, correct passwords, security questions, everything checks out. Over $200,000, I said quietly. Gone in 5 days while I was in Vancouver." He hesitated. "Who else has your credentials?" I already knew the answer. Only 3 people ever had access. Myself, my late wife Margaret, and my nephew, Connor. Connor had lived in my basement for 18 months, unemployed but full of promises. I'd trusted him last spring when I had heart surgery, gave him emergency access to help pay bills if something happened to me. Could it be a hacker? Thomas asked. I shook my head. Hackers don't know my dog's name, or my mother's middle name. By the time I drove home through the gray Toronto rain, my hands had stopped shaking. My retirement was gone. The savings that were supposed to let me rest, maybe travel, maybe leave something for my daughter. I parked beside Connor's dented Civic. The basement lights glowed through the frosted window, music pulsing behind it. I stood at the door for a long time before knocking. He answered with that same careless smile. "Uncle Will, back early, huh? Everything okay?" My voice was calm, too calm. "The bank says my accounts were drained last week." "What? That's insane, you think I think we'll let the police find out." For a second his mask cracked. Fear. Then the performance returned. "Wow, you're really accusing me?" I didn't answer. I just stepped aside and let him walk out. Coat in hand, pride wounded. As the door closed behind him, I felt something shift inside me. Not rage, not grief. Something colder. More focused. Margaret used to say that every bridge I designed had a hidden truth. Apply enough pressure to the right point and the structure reveals its weakness. That night, I opened my notebook and began a new project. Objective. Justice. Budget. Whatever remained. Timeline. However long it takes. Because this time, the structure I was going to collapse was my nephew's Chapter 2. The Range Rover Christmas. Snow had just begun to fall over Toronto, soft flakes swirling beneath the streetlights. I sat alone in my living room, the glow of the Christmas tree reflecting off the window. Then headlights swept across my driveway. Bright, wide, unfamiliar. A brand new Range Rover. Black. Polished. $100,000 worth of arrogance. Connor stepped out wearing a Canada Goose jacket that cost more than my monthly pension. He carried a bottle of scotch under one arm and a grin under his smug confidence. "Uncle Will," he shouted, arms open. "Merry Christmas. You wouldn't believe the year I've had." He didn't even glance at my face. He was too busy admiring his reflection in the SUV's paint. "I told you my luck would turn around," he said. "Got a little business deal going, big opportunities ahead." I looked at the keys dangling from his hand. "Where'd you find the money, Connor?" He smirked. "You'd be surprised what you can do when you stop being scared." Behind him, his girlfriend Melissa stepped out, designer purse gleaming in the porch light. She laughed. "He bought a cottage in Muskoka, lakefront. We'll have you over this summer, right, Connor?" He grinned wider. "Of course. Family first." Family, the word landed like an insult. When they left, their laughter trailed down the street. I watched until the taillights disappeared into the snow. Then I went downstairs to his old basement suite, the one I'd rented to him rent-free for 18 months. Gaming monitors, luxury sneakers, receipts scattered across the desk. One caught my eye. Deposit, Range Rover Sport, $30,000, paid in full. And another, Cedar Cottage, lakefront property, Gravenhurst. Down payment, $55,000, my blood ran cold. He wasn't just greedy, he was careless. He left proof of every lie lying around like breadcrumbs. I gathered the receipts, photographed everything, and sent them to my lawyer's new contact, Rebecca Martinez, specialist in financial misconduct. Her reply came within an hour. Understood. We'll trace the funds, build a civil case, and involve the CRA. Don't confront him again. Let him believe he's untouchable. Outside, carolers were singing Silent Night. Fitting, I thought, because silence was exactly what I needed. Let him celebrate his Range Rover Christmas. Let him sip champagne at his new lake house. He thought he'd stolen from an old man, but he'd just financed his own destruction, and Christmas was only the first chapter. Chapter 3. The trap is set by New Year's Day. Connor's fantasy life was already splashed across Instagram. Champagne on the cottage dock, designer jackets, hashtags like Siren Blessed Life. He didn't know that every photo, every timestamp, was another nail in his coffin. Rebecca Martinez, the lawyer I'd hired, had a saying: when someone steals from family, don't shout, record, document, and let gravity do the work. We met at her glass-walled office overlooking downtown Toronto. She reviewed my notes, the receipts, the photos, the bank logs, and smiled faintly. He thinks you're powerless. That's your advantage. She hired Gary Hendress, a former RCMP investigator turned private financial tracker. Within days, Gary produced evidence that could break a man in half. He laid the photos across his desk like a confession. Connor signing Range Rover papers. Connor at a Muskoka real estate office, grinning beside a sold sign. A luxury watch boutique receipt for $8,000. He's not hiding it, Gary said, which means he believes he got away with it. That arrogance. That's your lever. The forensic accountant traced the transactions. Every dollar from my portfolio, rerouted through Connor's accounts in neat 5-day intervals. $210,000 moved, $115,000 spent, $95,000 still unaccounted for. Rebecca's voice sharpened. We'll open 2 fronts, a civil lawsuit and a CRA inquiry. The lawsuit makes him panic. The tax fraud investigation makes him bleed. That evening, I filled out the Canada Revenue Agency's online fraud form, attaching the photos, the transactions, and one line of truth. Individual made large cash purchases with no verifiable income source. Suspected unreported income. I hit submit. That was phase 1. Connor thought I was an old man licking my wounds. But what I was building wasn't revenge. It was architecture, a structure of quiet consequences, load-bearing on his own greed. All it would take was time, and gravity would do the rest. Chapter 4. The collapse. By February, the snow along Shepherd Avenue had turned to ice. Hard, slick, and silent, so was I. Connor hadn't called in weeks. His Range Rover was parked outside his girlfriend's condo, while the CRA quietly opened their file. I didn't need to lift a finger. Bureaucracy would do the work. Then one night, Rebecca called. Her tone carried the precise mix of satisfaction and restraint lawyers reserve for when justice is near. The CRA sent a formal request for documentation, she said. They want proof of income for all cash purchases over $100,000. He doesn't have it, I replied. Exactly. He's cornered. The next morning, Connor tried damage control. A voicemail came through, frantic, oily charm stretched thin. Uncle Will, listen. This has gone too far. We can fix this. I'll make things right. Please call me back. I didn't. Days later, Rebecca emailed again. His lawyer reached out, James McIntyre. They're begging to negotiate. They offered $80,000 to resolve the misunderstanding. I almost laughed. Tell them the offer's rejected. I want the full $210,000, plus interest, plus legal costs. That's when Connor's tone changed. The next message came at 2:13 a.m. His voice cracked through tears, half rage, half despair. What have you done to me? You've destroyed everything. The CRA froze my accounts. Melissa left me. The Range Rover's being repossessed. I can't sell the cottage because of your damn injunction. He sobbed, then screamed, then went silent. I didn't hang up. I just listened. To the sound of a man watching the empire he built from stolen money collapse under its own weight. By March, the court had issued judgment. Connor was officially guilty of conversion and breach of fiduciary duty. His assets, the Range Rover, the cottage, the accounts, were seized. When the auctioneer's gavel fell on the cottage for $360,000, Connor's face went white. I raised my paddle. Bidder 73. The cottage was mine, reclaimed at a discount, bought with the same money he stole. Outside the courthouse, the wind was sharp. Rebecca joined me on the steps, her hands tucked in her coat pockets. "You got your money?" she said, "almost all of it." "Not quite," I replied, watching Connor walk past and hand me down clothes. "There's still the matter of his dignity. That'll take longer to pay back." Final chapter. The cottage and the cold silence. The lake was frozen solid that December. I stood at the edge of the dock, my dock now, the one Connor bought with stolen money and I reclaimed through justice. The Muskoka air cut through me, sharp and clean. Inside the cottage, the fire crackled softly. Margaret's photo sat on the mantel, her smile forever frozen at 58. I raised my glass toward her. "We finally got our lake house, love," I whispered. "Not the way we dreamed it, but it's ours." The phone on the counter buzzed, an unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Then curiosity won, a text message blinked on the screen. "Uncle William, it's Connor, I know you blocked me. I just wanted to say I'm sorry. I destroyed our family, and I'll live with that forever. Merry Christmas." For a long time, I just stared at the words. The first real confession, too late and too light. He'd lost everything. The car, the cottage, the money, his name. The CRA had taken the rest. His credit was ruined, his girlfriend gone, and his mother still blamed me for everything. I didn't reply. Some apologies are written only for the sender's comfort, and forgiveness isn't owed. It's earned, over years, not words. I deleted the message. The fire popped, sending sparks into the dark. Justice doesn't always roar, sometimes it hums. Steady, cold, final. I poured one last drink and stepped onto the porch. Snow fell quietly across the lake, erasing footprints, covering the scars. Margaret once told me, when people show you who they are, believe them, but never let them rewrite your ending. She was right. Connor had taken everything from me, but I had taken something far more valuable from him. The illusion that greed goes unpunished. I looked out at the frozen lake, the reflection of moonlight on the ice, and felt something close to peace. It wasn't happiness. It was closure. And for men like me, that was enough. Was this revenge perfectly justified, or should the storm have raged harder? Drop your verdict below. I read every single one. If you are watching this video, comment below and tell us where you are watching this video from. Hit like if you crave justice, and share this story with someone who needs its fire.